I give up. Oh my goodness. So let me just say that I am a very massive Spider-Man fan. And having said that, I of course followed the Spider-Man games throughout the years. And I was really excited for Spider-Man 2. Absolutely ecstatic when it was announced. Even when they were talking about working on it. Hey, there was rumors of them working on it. And once the trailer came out, extremely excited. Like I was just waiting for this. I was so excited for the game and had so much promise to it and believed in it that I made a bet that it was gonna win Game of the Year before I had seen any gameplay. I knew that Insomniac was gonna knock it out the park. I knew it. And there was nothing more disheartening, nothing more debilitating than seeing that first gameplay footage. Because it wasn't that it was necessarily bad. It wasn't that it was unpolished. It was just that I'd seen it before. That it seemed that they had not taken it to that next level that I thought they were going to take it to. And when you look at many of the sequels that have come before it, whether it's, Assassin's 1 and the jump they did from that to Assassin's 2, whether it was Arkham and the jump they did from that to Arkham City, whether it was God of War 1 to God of War 2, and I'm not talking about the new one, God of War Ragnarok, I'm talking about the OGs, the originals, and the sequels that come after the first game. If you look at it, for example, Spider-Man 2 on the PS2, I think that game, I may just have to do a video dedicated to that game in general, because there was a lot of creativity. We'll say that, because I know the word innovation, people hate hearing me say innovation, but in a nutshell, that's what that game was. When it came to web swing, this was the first game that allowed you to web swing and touch the ground. When it came to tricks, first game that allows you to do, air tricks. When it came to, pedestrians, talking to them, getting crimes. Think about this. We're still in 2023. We are still doing some of the same missions that originated in Spider-Man 2 on the PS2. The car chases. We're still doing that. I want you to understand that. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a ton of nostalgia that was given to us in Spider-Man 1 2018. That's great. I appreciate that. But I figured that Spider-Man 2 was going to be more of, okay, now that we got our feet wet, let's see what we can actually do. Let's see how we can innovate, just as Spider-Man 2 did before, Spider-Man 1. They fell short in every aspect. Well, I appreciate, the improvements that they did make, but I started to notice that when it came to the community that had gathered around Insomniac, you had certain titles, Insomniac We Trust and stuff like that. I don't trust anyone except God. And I sure as heck don't trust a developer. You had a community that was brought together by this game, by the hopes of what this game had achieved and what they were going to do future. It seems that slowly and surely that people, instead of becoming excited for, seeing innovation, seeing new gameplay, that they became excited for everything. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. And then when people get excited for everything, nothing becomes special. Nothing becomes, really worthy of being excited for. Because you have these people who would be excited for the most minuscule things. And it slowly started to devolve into a cult, and a cult of happiness, where if you had any criticism to levy against the game, well, you were an outlier. You were a bad guy, all right? You were the naughty person. Oh, don't say that. Okay, they're doing what they're doing. It's amazing. Let them do what they're doing. And it became, instead of people who were connoisseurs of gaming, it became very much a cult, where it was like, hey, they do the greatest thing. You can't criticize them. If you do, you're wrong. When you have that type of mentality, and you have a developer who notices that mentality, well, as in Spider-Man 2 says,
tells me you're brilliant. He also tells me you're lazy.
And that's exactly what I think this game was. I think there was an essence of brilliance, but overall lazy. Because they knew, whether it was Sony, whether it was Insomniac, but they knew that they could get away with the bare minimum. look at the marketing. If you juxtapose the marketing that they did for Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 1, night and day, because they knew they could get away. They could save money on that end because it's name brand. It's Spider-Man. People are going to buy this anyway. So it seems that they cut corners here and there and there and there and there, and it shows. Whether it's from the glitchy gameplay, whether it's from the lack of innovation when it came to web swinging. And they try to patch the web swinging with web wings. And the moment in time where you're web swinging, where you're web gliding faster than web swinging, and it makes web swinging feel redundant. Now, I've said this myself, and I would honestly say I misspoke, because the whole argument is, well, if you don't like it, then don't use it. But that's a fundamental flaw in the game, where web gliding is easier to use, you go greater lengths, and it's faster. Now, there is no significant difference between that if you're just trying to get from point A to point B, than there is web swinging. Now, with web swinging, you can do tricks. I would think there has to be a component that would force someone or make someone choose web swinging over web gliding. I don't see it, especially when there's tunnels all over the place. And the thing is, now that you've established the speed of the game, of how fast you can go with web gliding, you can't take that from players. You can't remove that from players. That's the thing. You can't just say, hey, you were going really fast with web gliding. Now we're going to reduce it so that web swinging is faster. No, you can't do that because people are going to be outraged. Like, hey, why are you doing that? I liked how fast it was, from the beginning. Don't change that. And I think we see this. When it came to even the story, I don't know how you completely fumble the Venom storyline. I don't know how you fumble that. I really don't. I think you genuinely had to try to make this an absolute garbage story. Everything felt rushed. Everything. Except maybe Mary Jane. It seems that you put more time into Mary Jane than you did into Venom. And it's just this constant barrage of mediocrity. But here's the thing. That's not to say that it's bad, because you have to understand mediocrity is via comparison. That's what you have to understand. That when people are saying, hey, this is greatest game ever, blah, 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 that the only way you could say this was a great game is via comparison. So you had to look into, well, what were you comparing it to? If you look at Arkham, you can't say it was greater than that. If you look at Baldur's Gate, can't say it was greater than that. Yeah, even if you look as far as what happened with Alan Wake 2 and the changes and the updates and the improvements that was made in the overall general mechanics of the game, I don't like that game, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of games that I weren't necessarily my play style. Heck, Baldur's Gate. I don't really play Baldur's Gate like that, but even I was like, just completely consumed by a side quest. I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is well acted. This is well, scripted. I'd like to know what's going on with these people. I'd like to, increase the stats of my team. So all of that being said, that yeah, it was good. It was great for some people in an echo chamber. And as we can see via the Game Awards, that's not good enough. It just isn't. It's not good enough. And even if you take out Baldur's Gate, it's still not winning because it would still fall short to Tears of the Kingdom. As I've seen, I'm not really expecting much from Insomniac. And then we get New Game Plus. I want you to understand, this is New Game Plus. We're not talking about DLC. We're talking about New Game Plus. They said it was coming out at the end of this year. Now they're pushing it back to early next year. I don't know what does that mean? You said it was coming out this year. So what faith do I have that it's actually coming out early next year? Because what faith do I have that you won't push it back to February, March, or whatever? I don't know that. And then maybe just, instead of releasing New Game Plus, you just bundle it up with DLC. I don't know that. And the fact of the matter is that when you have a community who's not upset, who's like, okay, yeah, that's fine, I totally understand, then there's no pressure. There's no pressure on the company. There's no pressure on the developers, no pressure on Sony to do better, to actually be greater. So when you remove that, then it's like I'm not, but the community is a bunch of lames, a bunch of saps, where you're just, you're slaves to the corporations. And I'm just like, that's not how that's supposed to work. That's not how this is supposed to be. This is a very dysfunctional relationship. And for the leaks that came out about them creating a multiverse game, how on God's green planet are you going to create a multiplayer multiverse game and you can't even get a single player game? Huh? You have yet to master the single player game. How are you going to do a multiplayer game? I'm just lost. They seem to be stretching them thin. That's what it seems to be. Either that or there are some crazy layoffs within the system, within the development team. I don't know what to tell you, but it's not adding up. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Whether or not you believe, all you do is complain, Lucas. All you do is complain. The game is amazing. It's amazing. Who cares if it doesn't win, Game of the Year? Who cares? The game is amazing, okay? Or if you believe, here we go again with, hey, just let them cook. Well, we let them cook, and they gave us 0 out of 7. That's what happens when we let Insomniac cook. When we let the community just applaud them and applaud them and applaud them, without any scrutiny or without any feedback as to what can be approved. When everything is great, that's what we get, 0 out of 7. So hopefully you guys can see that I was right, which I was. It wasn't good enough. It was good, it wasn't good enough. So to be honest with you, I'm not really even excited for Spider-Man 3. You flopped the Venom storyline. Like, there's nowhere else to go but downhill. There's nowhere else to go because that is peak Spider-Man and you screwed it up. And you want me to be excited for a multiverse or Carnage? I'm not. I'm just not. It is what it is. Nevertheless, if you happen to disagree, well, you're in luck because today is Disagreement Day. There will be a number on screen. It's typically held Friday through Sunday. Upon the number being on screen, you call in, we duke it out. Either or. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to like, share, comment. Let me know what you guys think. Whether or not, Insomniac, is a miss here, but I think they'll go strong in the multiverse or Spider-Man 3 or Wolverine, given the leaks that we've seen. Or if you don't believe, I've kind of lost faith in them, unfortunately. They're going to have to do a lot to bring it back. Or, also feel free to subscribe and share. And that fun stuff. Till next time, guys, be amazing.
Tells me you're brilliant. He also tells me you're lazy.